Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. My name is David, your English teacher. This is part of the new English program where I teach you how to speak everyday English, business English, so that you can grow. I also have live lessons, and this is part of the live lesson. This is a presentation that comes before the live lesson. If you want to speak face-to-face with me, if you want to practice all of this vocabulary, then you look at the description below the podcast, and you can join me and we can talk about this. So today we're going to talk about the right to rest. Now, first of all, what is a right? Well, the right is something that is written in the law, and it's something that you can demand, something that you are entitled to. So the government says, you have the right to do this, meaning you can exercise this. You can, you are entitled to this. You can receive this. You can do this. Okay. And the rest, to rest means, to relax, to not work. Okay. So to enjoy some leisurely time. And we're also going to discuss some employment laws. So if you're interested in different laws, human resources, anything that deals with employment, and this is a great lesson for you. Okay. Also, if you just work for a company and you're interested in work-life balance and kind of the future of employment, then this is perfect. So in the US, we talk about, we talk about, kind of work-life balance. And the point that we have to consider is, what is your center? Now, there's a quote that goes like this: you should work to live, not live to work. And the way a lot of people interpret this, of course, I'll ask you in class to interpret this, to give your opinion, either to, support it, or maybe to give reasons, why you disagree with it. But this idea right here says that your life, your everything that you do outside of work, that's the most important thing. And your work should be you should work in order to support what you do after work. Okay. And then, whereas, a lot of people live to work, as in their life is their job. So I want you to talk to me about this and to see if you agree or if you disagree. Now, I know that for a lot of you, the answer is nuanced, meaning it depends. Life is not so easy. Sometimes you can't give a yes, no answer. And so the important thing here to think is, if you love your job and your job is your hobby and your passion, like me, I love languages. I speak 5 languages. I love to teach them. I love to talk to people. I love to discuss ideas. And so for me, my hobby is my job. So I live to work. I live to work. Like I wake up every day excited to meet all of you, to record these podcasts, to teach people on Zoom. That's what excites me. That's what gets me motivated. But for some people, maybe their job is not so interesting. And for them, it's just something to make money, right? So here are some vocabulary words that are important. So when you decide what you're going to choose, there are some, you can call them stipulations, or some elements you need to consider. So first of all is sick pay. So sick pay is whenever you are sick, whenever you have an illness, you can stay home and you'll still get paid. Okay. So that's a lot of places, if you stay home and you don't work, you don't get paid. When I worked for companies as a teacher, if I didn't teach, I didn't get paid. If I didn't get paid, I didn't eat. but a lot of companies do offer you sick pay. Something else, okay, is the minimum wage. Minimum wage, so wage is the amount of money that you make, typically per hour or per day. So it's salary, it's more, when you talk about salary, it's more, maybe, monthly, or maybe yearly. Wage is per hour or sometimes per day. Minimum wage is the minimum amount that you can make, okay, legally. The government says this is the minimum that you have to pay your employees. Okay, so that's the minimum wage. Then we have maternity, and that means talks about the mother. Paternity relates to the father. So like come from Latin, mater, pater. Maternity, paternity, or parental, because parents, both parents, mother and father. Parental leave. And a lot of countries, a lot of progressive countries. Right now I live in Europe, and there are a lot of very progressive countries here. They offer parental leave. It means when you have a child, the government actually, and the company, both, they give you the opportunity to stay home, okay? And stay home, not work, stay away from work, and to take care of your baby. And in many cases, in many situations, in many countries, you do receive a certain amount of money. Okay, so you can still make money to survive, but you can spend time with your baby. Now that's a great benefit. Not all countries offer that. So I think that's a good thing. I really do support parental leave, and not just maternity, but paternity as well, because maybe the mother wants to go work for a little bit, and then the dad can stay home with the baby, while the mom works. So that's, in progressive countries, that's kind of that's the consensus. A lot of people do agree on that. So annual leave, okay? Annual leave it's a number of days that you can, per year, that you can take off work. Okay, so and it's paid also. Okay, so it's amount of time that you can leave work. Now, that's not to be confused with a sabbatical or a career break, and that is a period of time where you don't work at all. Typically, it's a year, like a sabbatical year. It's a year that you don't go to work. And like I said, a lot of companies nowadays are offering sabbaticals, because it's very, very common for us to burn out. To burn out is when it's too much work, too much stress. So you burn out and you want to find yourself. You want to travel the world. You want to spend a few months in Thailand, or in Mexico, on the beaches of Mexico, and play an instrument, sing, go swimming, eat some good food, write a novel, travel the world, or just read and take it easy. That's what a sabbatical is. Overtime is when, if you work more than the legal number of hours, so typically it's 40. If you work overtime, you work more than 40, and you get paid for every hour over the minimum or the set number of hours. And all of this relates to employment regulation. Regulation has to do with laws, regulation. So you regulate, base word is regular. Okay, so you want to make it regular. You want to, regulate, you want to create laws, rules, mandates, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to employment, so that the employee, but the employer also, can be protected. Okay, so this protects people. All right, so we're going to use, a lot of this. We're going to use these, and we're going to talk about different countries. All right, so, in Finland, very, very progressive country, they're talking a lot about, maternity and paternity, leaves, and, it's also in Austria, here in Europe. Okay, you know, they said that they increased the number of the number, you know, the paid holidays, the annual leave. You see, also, you know, Italy, they talked about special employment laws for students. We're going to discuss that. I know we have, you know, some Italians in the group, so that's going to be interesting to ask them. Okay, here we're also going to talk about Asian countries in Japan. Okay, in Japan they do have some interesting, you know, employment laws. You know, their employment regulation is very interesting, and what they do here is they measure the waistlines. No, they measure how fat people are. You know, and you know, and so like that they can maybe prevent some health risks. Okay, and then if you are not the recommended size, if you are overweight, in Japan, the government can fine the companies that don't obey this law, meaning the government can say, hey, your employees are overweight, you know, they're too fat, so you have to pay this fine. You have to pay a fine. Means, okay, like good, fine, I'm fine, but it also means a certain amount of money that you pay as a penalty. Okay, so in Belgium, you know, here there's also an employment law that stipulates that an employee can take a sabbatical. Okay, they can take a year off if they want. Okay, and still get paid. Okay, and their job will be guaranteed. Very, very interesting here. Okay, Iceland, another great country. Okay, I've been there. Very, very beautiful, beautiful nature. All right, so here in Iceland, they have an interesting, you know, policy when it comes to sick leave. So here it says that for the first 12 days of sickness, and that's 12 days a year, employees can receive, they can claim 100% of their pay. Okay, 100%. That means what you make normally, you will get it for 12 days out of a year. Now, if you are sick if you are sick more than 12 days, okay, you are entitled, okay, to, you know, maybe a reduced, but you still receive money, you know, for being sick and for staying home. But, you know, it's here a maximum is 52 weeks every 2-year period. Okay, so pretty much if you're sick in Iceland, first 12 days, you get your full salary. After that, you still receive some money, but, you know, maybe not all of it. All right. Okay, and then we also talk about the minimum wage a little bit in the UK. You know, if you are 23 and older, okay, so if you're over the age of 23 in the United Kingdom, there is a minimum wage. So right now it's £9.50. Okay, so it's £9.50, £9.50. I think they call them pence, not cents, but and that's called the national living wage. So they estimated that is what you need in order to have, you know, a basic life in the United Kingdom. Personally, I've been there before. I think you need more than that. So, yeah, $10 an hour, that's about $10 an hour, is not enough in the United Kingdom. In other parts of the world, you know, maybe you could have a good life with $10 an hour. In the UK, it's extremely expensive. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot about this. We're going to talk about this Japanese law. We're going to give your opinions. I want you to really express yourself. Now, I'm going to ask you what you think about these laws, if they're good ideas, if they're necessary, unnecessary, how you would change them. And of course, I'll make corrections. Okay, so all of these questions are here. You can study them before. Oh, sorry about this. Okay, let's. Sorry about that. So we are back here. we are back. So after discussing these things, we're also going to watch a little video in class, okay? And this video is in the link in the PDF. So if you're part of the program, you can watch the video. This video basically talks about a new law, that was passed. So a law passes, meaning the government votes on it and then they make it official. So a law was passed in Portugal last year in 2021, and it is called the rest law, the right to rest. Okay. Now, before you watch it, what do you think it is? Think about what this law might be about. Okay. And so basically this law protects workers. Okay. And it makes it illegal for employers to contact employees after hours. So that means if you stop working at 5, it's illegal for your boss to contact you after 5. If they do, then they will have to pay a fine. And, if the work is urgent or maybe some certain jobs, then the employers will have to pay, extra things, amenities, and other things, maybe electricity and different things like that. And the reason for this is because Portugal is a very interesting country, and Portugal is trying to become, a center. It's trying to attract digital nomads. So digital nomads are people who work online. For example, I'm a digital nomad. I work online for myself. I teach students. I teach people from all over the world. So I'm an independent. I'm not an employee. I'm self-employed, and I work online. I'm a digital nomad. I can go anywhere. So Portugal wants to attract digital nomads. Okay. And so they are creating all of these laws to protect employees. Okay. So what I want to know in class is, are there similar laws in your country? Laws that protect workers, laws that limit how much your boss can, what your boss can do, how much time they can take away from you. The minimum amount that they have to pay, the maximum amount that they can pay, but also if they can contact you in the middle of the night. Because I have some friends and I have some students, and their bosses are emailing them and calling them in the middle of the night. 10 o'clock at night, they're getting calls from their boss. That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible, and they're very stressed and they can't sleep and they're very upset when that happens. And so they need to switch off, meaning they need to, get their mind off of work. Okay, they need to relax and just enjoy in order to really be fresh when they come back home, when they get back to work. All right, and the last question is, would you like to be a digital nomad? Okay, so here we're going to talk a few words here. If you sue someone, you sue them for something, is you take them to court. You take them to court, you talk to a judge, and you want to get money from them. Okay, so that's to sue someone. If someone is penalized means they receive a sanction. They receive a penalty. Okay, they have to pay something. Typically the police or a government body, or they punish someone. Okay, hefty fine. So a fine is what you pay when you do something bad, like a penalty, that you pay a fine. Hefty means big one, a lot of money. If someone is entitled to something, they have the right to receive it. So let's say when you are at work, you are entitled to a certain number of paid holidays, a certain number of sick days. You're entitled to certain benefits. And the last verb is to take disciplinary action. So discipline, when you discipline someone, you punish them, you teach them, you tell them, don't do this, don't do this. So disciplinary action means someone disciplines somebody else. Okay, so bosses, they can tell them, okay, we're not going to pay you, or you have to stay extra, you have to stay late, or you have to do extra work. It's a way for them to, most of the time it's to punish employees for doing something bad. Okay, so we're going to have all these questions. We're going to talk about improvements. How can your conditions, employment conditions, how can they improve? How can you modify the policies, your company policies? Okay, we're also going to talk a little bit about disciplinary actions, suing, lawsuits. Okay, now, can you sue your employers? Can they sue you? Can you, are lawsuits quite popular in your country? Okay, and just general improvements. Okay, so it's going to be a great lesson. All right, and if you have any questions, write them down and bring them to class, because we're going to have a great discussion, and you will not want to miss this lesson. It's going to be amazing. All right, guys, have a good one, and I will see you in class.